10 years ago, my girlfriend abandoned me and our 5-year-old daughter. Now she wants her family back. My story begins 16 years ago when I met Lucy. She was an amazing girl, intelligent, beautiful, fancy, funny, just the greatest girl I ever met. I felt so lucky when we started dating. And after a year into the relationship, we had a baby. I was living the dream, living with my girlfriend, raising our little daughter, being a happy family. I loved Lucy so much, and after some years, we were finally getting married. Our daughter was the most excited one about the wedding. She was going to be the flower girl. Everything seemed to be perfect, until one day, when I was heading back home, a guy wanted to talk with me. At first, I believed he might want to sell me something, until he mentioned Lucy. Politely, he asked me to talk in a private place. He then asked me to please stop everything about the wedding and step back because he and Lucy wanted to be together. I didn't believe him until he started to tell me a lot of details about her that would be impossible to know. I returned home as fast as I could. I didn't want this to be true and told her about it, hoping it was all a mistake, but no, it wasn't. The next hour she told me everything. She had been cheating on me for the last 2 years. She told me about how all the time she said she loved me, that she wanted us to be together, and that she loved our family, were all lies. How her new man was younger, stronger, more handsome, and a better lover. She said that she didn't want to be tied to me, how she lost her freedom for being a mother, and she didn't want to be a wife. She wanted her freedom back. The final stab was when she said she was happy that I finally knew, and now she was able to leave. I cried, begged, humiliated myself, and got on my knees, asking for another chance to try to fix our relationship. But she didn't want to. She wanted the thrill and excitement that this new guy made her feel. By the next day, she left us. I felt broken, humiliated, emasculated, but my daughter needed me. She was heartbroken. Her mother left, and she believed it was her fault. She heard when Lucy said she didn't want to be a mother anymore. She needed me, and I needed to be strong for her. Fortunately, we had help. My family and Lucy's family supported us in any way possible. Her parents were so ashamed of their daughter's actions that they couldn't look me in the face without apologizing for everything she did. I will be in debt with everyone forever for all their help. Fast forward, 10 years later, after lots of time and therapy, my daughter and I are living happily. She is the light of my life, a beautiful 15-year-old lady whom I love. Our wounds are healed, and we have a very good life. But then, she came back. When my daughter and I were getting back home, we found Lucy in front of our apartment, waiting for us, wanting to talk. I recognized her immediately, and I would like to say that I did something cool, like ignoring her, asking her to leave, or at least being hostile with her. But no, I'm an idiot. My heart skipped a beat the moment I saw her. She still was beautiful as before, but somehow, she looked even better. Maybe age made her look mature and elegant, maybe the dress, or the makeup, I don't know, but I let her in, while our daughter gave us some space and went to her room. She told me everything she did since she left. Basically, she lived with that guy for some years. She said how much she enjoyed it, all the fun she had, and how she believed those were the best years of her life, until she noticed that the excitement of that new relationship was fading slowly. At some point, she started to cheat on that guy too. According to her, she wanted to feel alive and excited. Eventually, that relationship ended, and she started dating other guys. Every relationship became shorter than the previous one until she only had casual hookups. She also said that sometimes she thought about us, our family, but she said she was too proud to admit she made a mistake until last year. She got COVID, and it hit her really hard, to the point that she believed she would die, and realized how alone she was, how stupid she was, and the mistake she made so long ago. After all of that, she said she regretted everything she did and said, and now she was ready to marry me, and be the family we always meant to be. When she was done, I asked her to leave, to give me some time to think. She accepted, saying she would be back the next day. For years I dreamed about her coming back, and now it was happening, but it just felt wrong. Since then, she visits almost daily, wanting to talk about the best years of our relationship, and how we could be a happy family again. I asked for help, to my family, to my friends. Most of them said I would be making the worst mistake of my life if I took her back. Others said that I could give her a chance. It took me a lot to heal, and some more time to start making new relationships, and I would be risking everything. One night, my daughter and I had a deep conversation about all this. I always try to involve her in every part of our life, and this issue concerned her too because it's her mother. Sometimes she surprises me by being so wise and mature, because she told me, "Can you really love someone that hurt us so much?" And that was everything I needed. I would never forgive myself if I let her hurt my daughter again, and I said that to Lucy. If she wants to be around, or have a relationship with our daughter, I'm okay with it, only if my daughter wants it. But I told her we are not getting back. Lucy only said that she would make me fall in love with her again, and that she would not give up. Update: since the post, she has been insisting on meeting. She wanted to talk. I decided to have one last talk with her and set my boundaries. We met in a public place. The talk was long and hard. I wanted her to be honest, and I told her that the moment I caught a lie, I would leave. I asked if she was really sorry or if we were her last option. Did she truly love us, or were we just a consolation prize? Did she come back for love, or because she couldn't find another man? She couldn't answer any of that. She only said things like, "It's not like that, you need to understand me, and I'm not like this anymore." She kept insisting on giving her another chance, saying that we could love each other again and that we could be together. She never even mentioned our daughter at any moment. Only after I pointed it out did she start to mention her. When I tried to convey that we were over, she grabbed my hand and, as some of you told me she would, tried to seduce me, pulling down her blouse, showing me her chest, and suggesting we find a room so I could do whatever I wanted with her. She promised she wouldn't say no to anything, as a way to compensate me. I didn't recognize that woman. She wasn't the amazing girl I met. She wasn't the mother of my daughter. I didn't know who that woman was, but she wasn't my Lucy. I told her to let me go and that we were over. Neither I nor my daughter wanted anything to do with her, so I asked her to please leave us alone. We were living a good life without her. She then became irate, saying I couldn't leave her, that it wasn't my choice, and that she had nothing else. She claimed I couldn't take away her daughter. I still don't know why, but that last sentence triggered me. The next aren't my exact words, but they're close to what I said in that moment. Your daughter? Your daughter? You are not her mother. You only gave birth to her, but you are not her mother. Tell me, where were you when she was sick? Where were you when she had a fever? When she was scared at night? When her first tooth fell out? When she cried at night because she missed her mom? Where were you on her first day of school? When she had her first period? When she had her first boyfriend? When her heart broke for the second time? Because the first one who broke her heart was her mother. You have no right to claim you are her mother because you never acted like one. She tried to reply, but I saw she was at a loss for words. I left her. Back at home, she sent me some texts, asking for another meeting, another chance, claiming she loves me and can change, but I'm done. You all were right. She doesn't love me or our daughter at all. She only loves herself. Having her in my life would be bad and toxic. I don't need that. I don't need her. My daughter and I are going back to therapy soon. Some of you were right. I need to work on myself, become stronger, and move past those feelings for her because they're not real. They're just memories of who I thought she was. My mom neglected me and ditched me for her new family, so I decided to ditch her as well. Let me start with a little background about myself. I, 19 male, was born when my mom was only 17 and my dad was 19. They were young, impulsive, and unprepared for parenthood. Though they dated and eventually hooked up, they never married. My dad ended up in prison for the majority of my life, all for non-violent substance charges. This left my mom to fend for herself, and for me. When I was 10, she married my stepdad. The new family structure seemed promising at first. My mom seemed happy, and I was hopeful that this new beginning would bring us closer together, but that was far from reality. Things began to change when she got pregnant with my sister. Once my sister was born, it wasn't long before my mom got pregnant again with my brother. I slowly began to feel like a ghost in my own home. My mother's attention was diverted, and I was pushed to the sidelines. She seemed to hardly notice me, let alone care about my feelings or needs. Emotional neglect settled in, and I felt unwanted, as if I didn't matter anymore. As I grew up, I continued to try to get her to talk to me, to notice me, to include me, but she was always preoccupied with my brother and sister. Every family activity became an exclusive event for them. It was always my stepdad, mom, and my siblings, leaving me out as if I wasn't part of the family. I started to believe that my mom hated me or, at the very least, disliked me. This realization was solidified one particular day that still haunts me. I remember vividly when my mom came into my room, all dressed up and racing around. Curious, I asked if she was going somewhere, to which she quickly replied no. Content with her answer, I went back to playing on my computer, but no later than 15 minutes later, I heard the garage door go up. Confused and alarmed, I raced downstairs, thinking, what the F? Sure enough, my mom, stepdad, and my sister and brother were all dressed up and in the truck, and I was left standing outside, feeling really uncomfortable. The look my mom gave me as she jumped into the truck was not one of regret or apology. It was a look of absolute disgust. Though I don't cry easily, something about that whole scene really got to me, and I went back inside to cry a bit before I managed to get over it. Unfortunately, it wasn't the first time something like this had happened. She texts me 10 minutes later telling me they're just going to the park. I remember thinking, but I didn't respond, fearing I would just work myself up again. Fast forward to when they got home. I was eating dinner, and my 9-year-old sister rushed in after my mom, super excited to tell me about everything they had done. They hadn't gone to the park. My mom had lied to me. They'd actually gone to Dave & Buster's, gotten milkshakes, and went shopping. I was crushed by it, and my little sister noticed I had gotten upset. Sensing my mom was about to make excuses and turn the circumstances into my fault, I excused myself to my room quietly to avoid a scene in front of my little sister and brother. The truth was, it super sucked. I had been trying so hard to be a good son despite the selfishness of my mother and the chaotic impact her ways had on me. Once I realized that her behavior wasn't normal, I began to question our relationship, the one we once had, and my place in the family. I didn't see any safe way out without ending up on the streets, broken alone, 19 years old, unemployed by the way. In a desperate but determined move, I joined the army. It was a spur-of-the-moment decision, and she still doesn't know. This was the first decision I'd actually made on my own, and I can't tell you how excited I am for BCT soon. So here I am. Sorry everyone, I just wanted to get this off my chest. Thanks for listening. What's one dark psychology trick that everyone would benefit from knowing? Everyone knows about the power of silence, but most people don't understand where to use silence to shift power in your favor. I'm a psychologist, and largely, there are 3 circumstances where silence can be used most efficiently. When someone is subtly accusing you of something, when you want to get someone else to speak, and when you want to insult someone. The first scenario comes up more often than you would expect. American society especially teaches people to dance around confrontation, which means that most accusations are buried under hypotheticals and observations. If I want to ask you why you were being dishonest with me, societal norms would find it more appropriate for me to comment, "It's kind of weird that you said that earlier, because I feel like you ended up doing the opposite." Rather than directly saying, "You lied to me." Why? In your scenario, the most effective way to deal with this kind of observational accusation is a quiet hum and silence. Do not engage, do not react. What this does is it dismantles the person accusing you by making their comment seem out of place, especially in comparison with your nonchalant reaction. Since the confrontation was indirect instead of direct, it creates the effect of them making their attempt at confrontation too subtle, leaving them responsible for just an awkward silence. This is important because in any conversation, there is a special weight placed on the person who speaks last. The longer you are silent, the more out of place their comment will seem, especially if it held an implicit question. Because of this subtle weight that burdens the last person who speaks, people will often try to counter that weight by adding on to their previous comment, which is why, if you ever want someone to add on to their previous comment and talk more, the best thing to do is to remain quiet. They will feel the pressure and automatically add something on their own. And the less you react to a person, the quieter you remain, and the longer you stretch any silence, the more you undermine someone. Ignoring a person is the best insult because it tells them that they aren't even worth recognition. They're that far beneath you. My wife's obsession with plastic surgery has made me lose attraction for her. I've been married to my wife for 6 years now. When we got married, she said she wanted to do minor cosmetic procedures on her face to help with her insecurities. She had been insecure her whole life, so I was as supportive as I could have been. She got lip filler and Botox on her face. After a few months, she got more lip filler and her lips looked scary to me, but she was very happy with them, so I didn't say anything. Next, she wanted to get her chest done. Again, she was happy with how they turned out, but I thought they looked weird. They were so big and stiff, and my wife is a petite and skinny woman, so it just didn't look proportional to the rest of her body. But again, it made her so happy, so I was fine with it. Last year, she said she was going to get a Brazilian butt lift. This time I actually told her I wasn't going to support her on this one because it's a dangerous procedure. There was a story on the internet that went viral a month or so prior about a woman who died during her BBL procedure. I was scared. I asked her if she could see a therapist or psychiatrist about her body dysmorphia before doing this, but she refused and said it hadn't helped when she tried it before. She said she was doing it with her own money anyway, so I didn't have a say in it. I shut up and took care of her after the procedure. I was so glad she was safe and the procedure went well, but in all honesty, it was horribly done. The doctor made her hips so wide, her thighs and waist were really small, so again, it just didn't look proportional. Now the problem is I genuinely don't find her physically attractive anymore and I don't know what to do about it. I want nothing more than to be madly attracted to her as I was years ago, but everything she has done to her body makes her look slightly terrifying to me. I love her and don't think that will change, but I hate making love with her now. I don't enjoy it, but her intimate drive has increased since the BBL, probably because she's more confident now. Meanwhile, mine has basically tanked. I thought of talking to her, but I'm not sure what good that will do besides make her feel bad. There's nothing that can be done now anyway. She's confident and happy in her body for the first time in her life and I don't want to ruin it. So I obviously won't ever say anything to her about this. I love every other aspect of our relationship, so that's just going to have to be enough. I obviously can't say this to anyone in real life, so here I am. Just wanted to get this out.
Instead of his plan to propose, he broke up with me and went off the rails. I was just forced to cancel my August 2-week Mexico vacation with my boyfriend of 4 years because he was planning to propose. Told all our friends, parents, co-workers and my boss, who pushed me to take the time off because apparently he'd known for several months now. Because my boyfriend did not plan the ring order properly, he had a link to the exact ring in his phone for 2 years. He asked me to send it a long time ago as we have discussed marriage down the line with no hard expectations on timeline or how he does it or whatever. It was a platinum lab diamond oval, all pre-chosen, so he only had to click order. He just contacted the jeweler who told him the lead time is at least 3 weeks, up to 7. It also says this word for word on the ring's webpage. Obviously, our vacation was supposed to start in less than 3 weeks. Here's the thing, I didn't know about the proposal and he didn't want me to find out, so he freaked out at home a couple nights ago and just told me to cancel everything. I was shocked and asked him to triple confirm that's what he wants me to do. I booked it all through my travel card, and he confirmed. We got in a huge fight over it because I couldn't understand where this was coming from, and parts of it were non-refundable, so we likely can't rebook it as it was at a later date due to cost and timing with work. The fight continued through yesterday with him breaking up with me in a moment of rage, and me saying I will follow through with that and move out if that's what he really wants. He said he wasn't sure. He took a moment, still angry, and then he spilled the beans about the proposal and is contacting the jeweler, but said it's too little too late, because we got in this huge fight and he broke up with me. And now he didn't like how matter-of-fact I was being about the breakup because I was in shock, upset and in the dark about the entire why behind him wanting to cancel the vacation entirely, which I think was dumb because he could have proposed with a string and I would have been elated, and then we could have received the ring when we returned. We didn't speak the rest of last night and he left for work quietly this morning. I work from home, apparently. He left work early today for a lunch and happy hour with his team and stayed out. He sent me a weird text at 4 p.m. basically restating our breakup to confirm his stance, and he never came home tonight. I texted him at 1:30 a.m. asking if he's being safe at least for the sake of his kids, and he replied with a thumbs up on my text to him. He likely left co-workers in the afternoon around the time he texted me and met up with someone else to stay the night with, and I honestly don't know if it's a friend or another woman he met while out drinking all day at this point because 1, he's kind of a flirt, especially when drunk, and 2, his 4 p.m. text felt like a cop-out so he can go do whatever he wants, if you know what I mean. I have no idea what state he'll be in when he returns home, and at this point I can't trust anything he might say about his whereabouts for the past approximately 17 hours. I can't believe our relationship is over because of this.